Hello and welcome back to happy video watching, everyone. Remember, we're looking at chapter 4, which deals with posting to a general ledger. And just as a general reminder, the ledger is how we account for all of the activities that are taking place in the business. So for lesson 4-2, we're going to be posting from a general journal. And remember, the general journal is how we record all of the daily activities of the business to a general ledger, and then also to prove cash when we're done. So our lesson objectives, our learning objectives, would be to post amounts from a general journal and then to demonstrate how we prove cash. First of all, posting an amount from a debit column of a journal entry. And we want to make sure we understand that anytime we transfer information from a journal entry to a ledger account, that this is called posting. So what we're doing is we're taking the transactions we wrote down in our general journal and we're putting them from the general journal into a ledger account. So as we're looking at this first slide here, what we're seeing on top is the general journal, and we can see both sides of a transaction where we're doing something with cash and we're doing something with a capital account. I can see the debit and the credit. I can see the receipt. I can see the account number that we've used and the page of the general journal that the entry is coming from. Below that, then, what I'm seeing is the general journal. Okay, excuse me, below that what I'm seeing is the general ledger. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and write the date. So I take the date from the journal and put it in the ledger. The next thing I do is write the page number. So it came from general journal page 1, G1. Then I go ahead and I write the debit amount. So you can see I debited $2,000. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a $2,000 debit in the ledger. I'm going to go ahead and write my new account balance, $2,000 in the debit. And I'm going to go ahead and return to the journal and write the account number on the top of my ledger page. So I went ahead and started this general ledger for my cash account. Now you're looking at the second half of the transaction where I'm just posting something to the capital account. So the first thing I do again, I write the date, the general journal page number, so this was page 1, the amount of the credit, the account balance, and you can see that in this case that the balance is a credit balance. And then I went ahead and I looked in my general journal and I can see that the account is 310. Now, the second part of what we have to do is be able to post a debit amount to an account that already has a balance. In our previous transaction, we were posting for an account that had a starting balance of 0. So in this next activity, you can see that we are posting something that from an account where there is an existing balance. So the first thing you want to notice is that we are posting to the supplies account. So we're writing the date. It is January 5th. We are writing the general journal page number. So this is coming from journal page number 1. We write in the debit amount of $220. And then we have to go ahead and figure out the balance in the supplies account. So when you look at the previous balance was $165, and we're going to go ahead and add $220 because that's the amount of the new debit. So this account now has a debit balance of $385. And then finally, we're going to go back to that journal and make sure that we have the correct account number. Now we want to make sure we can post a debit to an account that has a credit balance. So we're looking at our accounts payable account. So that's our next transaction. So we're going to go ahead and the date is January 9. That's our first item. The general journal page number looks like we're still functioning on page number 1. This time we have a debit of $100. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and look at our previous balance of $220 as a credit. We're going to subtract our $100 debit, and our new credit balance in the account is $120. So we'll write the new account balance under credit, and then we'll go back and look in the journal to make sure we have the correct account number. And we do. 210 would be that correct account number. Now, what you're seeing here, and if you look in your book, this is on page 102, 103, 104, and 105, we're looking at a journal page that has the posting completed. So you can see we've taken all of the transactions from this journal page and posted them to all of the separate general ledger accounts. So you can see we have a cash, we have accounts receivable, we have supplies, we have prepaid insurance. So every single transaction that was posted in our general journal, we have now individually posted to our general ledger accounts. All right, so the very last thing that we want to do in this little section is talk about proving cash. And it's really important that we always know how much cash is in the business. So determining the amount of cash, and that the amount of cash in the cash account agrees with the amount of cash the actual business has, is called proving cash. So what you do is you look at the amount of cash in the checking account, so the checkbook, and then you look at the amount that the business shows in the cash account, and if those two amounts match, then you have proved cash. That's proving cash. Now, as a general rule, businesses do this at least once a month. Some will do it more frequently than that, depending on how much cash the business handles. So the 5 steps in posting from a general journal to a general ledger. We want to make sure you understand those 5 steps and make sure you can go back and think through the 5 steps. Second question, when both debit and credit amounts have been posted to an account, what determines whether the balance in the account is a debit or a credit? So you want to think that through. And which two amounts are compared when you're proving cash? What is it you're looking at when you're proving cash? All right, that would be the end of this particular section for Chapter 4. You want to make sure that you go and answer the questions on the form that are out on the website, and then go ahead and do the work together and on your own exercises.